Okay. I'm pretty sleepy, so we'll see how this goes. But I'm enjoying this moves turn, and I thought I would make my first strategic level commentary video for it. I'm probably going to execute these tomorrow with Gallows, so I'll likely keep this on private until after we do the moves. I might even want to wait until the following moves are done, just because there's some pretty valuable intel that Gallows would get from looking at this, and I know he likes to watch the videos too for fun. So even if he didn't want to, he's gonna be forced to learn some things that would taint his strategic experience. But I'll decide that later. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the scenarios here. Oh, I can feel my brain struggling to work, so apologies if I'm slow. So we're doing pretty good in Bayou here. You can see we have the entire cathedral. This is huge. This is like everything on this map. It takes a long time to get to this. I think this is, I think I'm about 18 battles deep on this map so far, and they've been some pretty rough ones. But now that we have this and we have the other side of this exit in Rory, this is the road to Rory right here. Down here. Okay, which we're also doing pretty good in. So, first thing I do when I'm looking at strategic moves is to find what exits I can recycle. Even if I already own them, you never want to pass up a chance to gain some ground by just moving a new unit in. So I kind of always start from there and look for the obvious moves and then narrow it down, or at least isolate the tough choices, and then make one of those and flesh that out. This one was actually a lot of tough choices, which is why I was going to make a video of it, because it's particularly fun. Sometimes all the moves are really obvious. Pretty much anybody could pick the save file and be like, oh yeah, you should definitely move this. Obviously, you captured that exit, so you want to move through that. But this one had some tough choices for me. So we'll do this circle first. He is definitely going to recycle this entrance that we keep going for. We haven't got it yet. This is the road to Tilly, which leads to this right here. This is pretty much a dead end. This is a very hard corner to get out of. You can see this gully here with the stream in it, and a strong player like Gallows is going to make this almost impossible to get across. I mean, I've I'm sure I've done it a few times, but you're playing someone who's familiar with Go Juno's sword and knows their way around the axis. That's gonna be really tough to get out of. So we still got to go though. That's why we're hoping to get there from Rory. And that's how you have to do that, as a dual assault from both of those. So you can come in down here. Oh boy, whoops. So you can come in right here. These close enough, they kind of merge. But this is how you get into Tilly, and then Tilly is just, it's chaos. I mean, when I've defended as Germans and the Allies get their roots into this map, it is what's the word? A massive headache. Excuse me. It is a nightmare for the Germans when the Allies are open. You just have so many exits, and they're all really crucial. So, anyways, getting away from myself. So, because he's going to recycle this, I can't stop it. This is a huge entry bubble, or maybe it only seems that way because Bayou's more compact than it might seem. But either way, when he re-enters here, um, we get really crunched in our cathedral. I think this even becomes contested, and we just have this little square for our entry there. So I'm going to move in from Rory. I didn't do that last time, and he did crunch us, and luckily we were able to shoot our way back into it. It was a pretty hard fight. It's a good stream. If you are looking for one, it's the last Bayou fight before this moves. But we're going to move in, so that should, they kind of offset a little bit. So I'll kind of squish half of his deploy down. He'll squish half of mine down, but it's definitely better than if I did not move in. So now that I know I'm doing that, picking who I have to go. I I do own the road to Brettville here. I'm just not ready to go there yet. It's a tough fight. I've been disbanded this campaign there before after some tough fights, and I think I just need to get this secure better. Also, I'm not exactly sure who's here. I might not be able to win that. This is a recon. Both of these groups are speed 3, the fastest for the allies, but they're this this one's below the I in cohesion. I don't know if you know that, but if you're below the I in cohesion, you lose 1 speed. So now this guy's a speed 2 when he was a speed 3. Above the I, I'm pretty sure you're good. Below the I, you're down 1, and then I think below maybe the H, it's we're still working on confirming that in the laboratory. But somewhere around there, you'll drop again another 1, and that would make him a speed 1. And I think if you have no cohesion, you lose 1, 2, 3 points, which would turn even the German recon, one of these guys right here, would turn even one of those into a 1. It would make us a 0. So, anyways, I'd much rather do this. This is more important to secure. If I can get the other side of Tilly and just kind of camp out here, because the Germans definitely aren't going to come back over this way, then I can stop that recycle and I can relax a bit and focus on Lingavers and maybe move into Brettville. Could do it, I'm not going to. Well, I could have done it last time too, and I didn't, and he didn't attack through it. He might not be very interested in doing that, although they probably would connect. But he's got his hands full trying to stop me here, so he hasn't really put anything out here. I mean, that's how I just kind of waltzed in and took this, because he can't split himself. I have the luxury of splitting myself because I can just recycle these and push back through here. But really interesting fight going on in Rory. We're pretty deep on the number of battles there too. So both of these can move anywhere, but I don't want to leave these guys here. This is my really light armor column that I had to fight the last battle in Rory with, and they're down to like recon teams. That's it. That's it for their infantry. I have got to get an infantry group like one of these guys with the cars. I've got to get one of those merged with this armor group. They don't have any commanders left. They get no infantry. That's just not how you want to fight a battle. But they will work as a fast speed 3 secondary group. So they're moving into secondary to help clear that. I'm going to leave the Cromwell column here as primary, so that if we do get any of these VLs, we can maybe move through them depending on who's here. Let's see, Gallows captured Port Besson again last battle because I'm just leaving it empty. He is more than welcome to attack through that into right here, and I will fight him viciously with these infantry groups. I don't think he'll even go there, so not worried about that right now. And I have to vacate someone from Bayou, so looks like I'm keeping. I decided these moves over the past week, so I have made some decisions before that I'm just gonna have to trust now. So it looks like we are sending the. Well, we got a AVRE in that group right there. It's one of the Allies' few assault guns. They're mean, tough to use though. Okay, and then we definitely got to get another group coming into Rory to keep two there. So we are sending in our crocodiles, our Churchill heavy tank, heavy Churchill crocodile flame tanks, and I'm going to use those in this really intense fighting we've been doing up here. These little hedge slots right here, perfect distance to flame across. So we are either going to scare the Germans away, or I'm going to lose all my crocodiles to panthers breaching the hedge and just popping them. Because, as always, the panther can just walk through anybody. But crocodile probably stands best chance of just about anybody in that distance, because that flame shot will kill instantly, and they have the heaviest armor of any allied tank in the entire game. Bar none. I don't even think there's a secondary. The Churchills, I think they're Mark 8s. I don't know. I'm not too versed on the Churchills historically. There is a Churchill column that comes later, and they have all the different Mark 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s. I don't know how that works, but in my experience, none of them are quite as heavily armored as the Crocodile is. Okay, so there's that corner taken care of, and now we're into Hermanville. I own finally made something happen in Hermanville. I think we captured Buron and moved on Abbey exit right here, and we contested it last time. We had him pinned back here, and then the following battle we kept on pushing and kicked him out of here entirely. He didn't put up a real big fight for this. Kind of surprised me. I don't know if he's planning on pulling out of this map soon. Oh, excuse me. Hermanville is a pretty well-known German stronghold. I mean, every campaign I've been on, the Germans just they linger here for a long time. It's tough fighting everywhere you go. Fun, but always hard to clear. So I was surprised how easy he gave that up. Oh, the other thing that could mean is that he has a fast group in Abbey that he knows he can beat me with. Germans have that luxury because yep, tigers. So I must have decided to do that just to keep him honest. I don't want to send them to Buron, even though I own that, and we're going to go there eventually. We finally pierced in here. Last time Buron has been a pill for us. It always is for the Allies. You can, if you get here early, you can own the map pretty easily. I think you can get a contest here, I'm sorry, a meeting engagement where Germany enters one side, you enter the other. That's what you could even do that from the field, and it's a really always a fun, exciting battle to see how those two clash in there. And if you're really good or really lucky, you can actually get here and own this map, I believe. As allies, I've seen that happen a few times. I can't quite remember how it went down here. I don't think it was smooth sailing for us because Gallows has been just lumping us up here for quite a while. And this is definitely the highest number of disbands we've had on any map. Five, I think, maybe more. I don't know. Gallows, I'm sure knows. And most of those were up here from entering in Hermanville, which we owned before. Gallows has pushed us back quite a bit with a bit of a counteroffensive as his strong units came in. But yeah, we kept entering up here and fighting, and we'd last maybe one or two, and then he would kick us out, and I just kept on trying because as allies, you just have to keep trying even if it's dangerous. That's the one advantage you do have is just lots of battle groups, and at this stage of the game, your respawn is pretty darn close. You start getting towards the late stages, and you're way out here. Disband's gonna hurt because it's gonna take you 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 turns to get back to where you want them. So, um, finally in Duran, and I'd say we're here to stay. Unless maybe he recaptures this and comes in behind me, I'm just gonna keep working my way around. So that's why I don't want to come in here yet, because I secured this last battle. We snuck over here and pinched this off. So this is safe now, and we're gonna send a group in here, and we're gonna clear this and connect those, and then we'll come in here and clear this and connect those. Gallows, if you're listening, plug your ears. But he probably knows that's what I'm planning to do there. Now you could come in up here if you're unfamiliar with the game mechanics of LSA, which I wasn't going to get into too much on this one. I was going to make an actual like tutorial based video for people to learn all the mechanics, because it takes a long time to talk about them. But just because it's pertinent here, if I did enter from Hermanville, there's a few different things that would happen. If I attacked in here from Hermanville, I'd have to leave one of my groups here. There's 2 groups here, so one of them would have to leave. New group comes in from Hermanville. Now, if I attacked in, my attackers, which is the bulk of my forces in LSA, usually means I can bring all 15 units, or I can borrow up to 3 infantry and 1 tank from the original battle group that I left here. If I didn't leave anyone here and I moved in, this would turn into no man's land. Germans couldn't deploy here, but I couldn't either. So, if I attack it from Hermanville, that attack group would be primary, and they'd be stuck in this bubble. The maximum number of guys I could put down here would be those 3 infantry and a support unit from the group that stayed. But that group that stayed, because in LSA, if you fight one battle, you can deploy anywhere. This is the first battle the Hermanville group will be in if I came in here. So they don't get this yet. They can't deploy here yet. You got to do one battle, and then I guess it means you've arrived and you have access to where the original group does. But these guys can deploy anywhere since they've been here a battle. So I could put all 4 of those spare, reserve units up here as well as I wanted. So because I know that if I was going to do this, I would move in from here and not attack in. If you select move and move in, I still clear this entry, but this group is secondary and they loan to this group. And this group can deploy up to 15 units here. It can deploy up to 15 units here. It can deploy up to 15 units here. It has total free reign to deploy anywhere. So if I did come in from Hermanville, which I'm not going to, would be an option. You'd clear this bubble, and the enemy really wouldn't know where you were going to be. But it's not totally ideal. I mean, there's lots of things you could do with that, but for me, it's a little safer, and because I got other things going on, I'm going to just systematically keep working my way up around here, because if I come in here, you almost got to pick one. The Germans could lean on one and kick me out. Might be kind of hard to hold both of those half and half. Not impossible, but we're not going to do it, so I digress. We're coming in right here, and we'll open up this bubble and connect these, and then we'll just keep on working our way up and clearing map, trying to probably sneak a guy up here to link with that, just like I did here. So that's the plan in Buron. So to do that, I have this infantry group hanging out in Beville. They're coming in, moving in, because I don't want them to be primary. They don't have any tanks. I want this armor column right here to fight again. Cohesion's pretty low, but I'm gonna have to deal with it because it's a important map and I need the tanks and they can deploy everywhere. So to have these guys come in, I gotta send this infantry group that helped us assault last time down. Um, it, there's an interesting thing happening here with the LSA mechanics that allows them to move down. Um, I might highlight this in another video. I'm not going to get into it now, but since Gallows and I are playing straight game mechanics, this guy can move down here. And he's not strong enough to fight the very important fight in Legacy Woods, so he's moving in a secondary, and we're letting the very robust 159th battle group fight as primary again, which means I gotta get rid of this guy, which I actually didn't assign the move yet. He's still on rest. That's what that blue down arrow is. So we have to get him out of here to allow this movement to occur, so the only place he can go is Bville, which works out just fine for me. Alright, so that covers everything. This is just background second line. I'm going to do the southern sector here last, because that's where I'm getting a little rowdy. So but I'm not doing any movement here. I don't really. It's kind of the most ideal spot for those guys. Everyone else is slowly working their way down because a lot of allied reinforcements keep coming up here, up high, which I think is historical. You'd have to ask the modders, but you can see them slowly kind of working everyone down, funneling them to where we have breakthroughs, which luckily is we're starting to gain in some areas here. So I'm decided to just leave both these guys here in case he attacks, and then Bayou and Rory here are hopefully going to become outlet avenues once we break through, and these guys will be here to start moving through. Merging a battle group here. This is, I think, the third recon group. These, let me unmerge this so you can see. These little car icons, these are the allied recon groups. Saw a couple of those bopping around elsewhere. Here's another one. And there's another one. I have merged these ones with armor brigades, which are these guys right here. Allies have a few of these. I don't recall how many, but you can see it's just tanks. They are designed to be merged into a group because they're not going to really stand on their own. Now you can keep them and have yet another battle group that is a speed 3. They're very fast to help move through things and beat German blocks. But allies have a lot of battle groups, so I usually try to merge them, and these are the best candidates because when you merge these two, the recon group stays, so you stay speed 3. If I were to merge him with, say, this infantry group, I'm pretty sure the infantry group would stay as the remaining group. There's some mechanics there we can talk about in another video. A little bit of mystery involved. I don't think we have completely honed down how the game decides who merges into who, but in this case we know, and you can always test it in single player before you make the decision in a multiplayer to see what the outcome is. These will merge and make a very powerful, fast tank column for the Allies. Could field up to 10 tanks if I wanted to. Alright, so those guys are merging. That's going to be one less battle group, so we've got another guy coming down to fill a spot, basically. And if you ever play Radzamin, the Russian Lestan Arnhem mod, and you play the Russians, you are going to be a master at dealing with secondary and tertiary lines because they just have piles of battle groups and they all just fall in and sit back here with not much to do. But again, I always just kind of try to logically go through them all and just make sure they're all doing something beneficial. Sometimes they just have to sit there, and if they're ever just sitting there like these two guys up here, I just make them rest. Most might not do anything. These guys are already full, but I still see a little bit of fatigue gone there. Maybe it'll go up. I don't know. There's no point to not resting them because they're just sitting there doing nothing. So these two guys are moving down to fill in the Tailville spot here, which can go down to Hermanville. Wow, my game is a little lagging, or is that just my mouse doing that? Anyways, and we gotta send this guy somewhere. We're gonna send him to Cruelly, just because it's the most. It's the closest one. Cruelly, such a fun. I wouldn't say fun. It's pretty brutal, but very interesting, unique map. Doesn't get to see a lot of action because the Germans kind of get kicked out of there pretty quickly. But if you do have fights here, oh boy, buckle up. It is possibly the most intense infantry tactic map you're going to find in Gold Juno's Sword. There's just not good lanes of fire for anti-tank guns. There's not even that many good anti-tank positions. Tanks have very limited mobility. Like, these are all trees they can't move through, and a lot of hedges that cannot be crossed, a lot of large hedgerows. So it ends up being mostly infantry doing the work here, which gets really nasty, but it's pretty unique. Anyways, I think that's everything up top here. So the only thing left to talk about is, oh, we got the Pegasus. Well, that's part of the southern sector, so we'll get into that. You can see two juicy little Panther groups here. They came through this disaster that is Legacy Woods, which we were doing well on, but good old Panthers came in here and pulled our card. We got a little too cocky and overconfident, and I have blocked out a lot of it, but I vaguely remember just constant scrambling backwards as Panthers just kept running up and just popping us. Lots of Fireflies lost trying to get Panthers and failing those duels because Panthers are tough. They're tough. There's just no other way to put it. They're fast and accurate and deadly and impervious, and they can be a real pain in the behind. And they were here, and you can see he captured the road to Benwaville, which is not what we wanted. I was only able to survive by keeping the road to Beeville, but those Panthers came pouring on through into Benwaville, which is another notorious map. And this corner right here, you see that, man, it is a oh boy, it is a tough nut to crack to get these Germans out of here. This is just an anti-tank gun paradise in this map for the Germans, whoever's defending it. I mean, it is for us too, but I'm supposed to be the one moving. He can just sit here and ruin our day, and that's definitely what's happening. And then he's got Panthers here to boot, which is just, it's a nightmare. I mean, the only perk of having Panthers on a map is that they're not on another map. And we have two of them here, and they came in and popped us right in the nose and captured the road to Pegasus and cut off all these guys down here. This right here, I'll show you the links here. You can see there's no passages across this river here until you get to Caen. Did I say that right? Except for Pegasus Bridge, the famous Pegasus Bridge. So when the Germans own this side of the VL right here, according to LSA mechanics, if they own this, my supply stops right here. Does not go through, which means all my guys down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 battle groups were cut off. And we have had some intense fighting over this exit here. It's a pretty tough one to get. Definitely some good battles to watch on that if you want to go back through the channel and find those. But anyways, what happened there? So he captured this. We couldn't get it back. I didn't have anyone here that could block him. One of these Panthers, which is it's the lair group back here. It's a speed 3, even though it's not a Panther column. It's speed 3. Well, I guess thank the heavens it's not a Panther column. The Germans don't have any Panther columns in Gold Juno swords. That would be a true nightmare. You can get one. Um, have I seen it done? I can't remember. In the end of the Gold Juno Sword 9.9 Team GC, it's very late stage. I think we're down to the very last turn now, and I have merged everything into the 130 recon group. Where are those guys? I don't see them. Um, but if you can get Panthers in there, that's a column that would stay behind, and then you can have 10 Panthers and just ruin everybody. But Panthers came on down to Pegasus. We fought one battle here. It's definitely a unique map. My goodness. But they're over on their island, and we're over here. This was the commandos that stopped them here in Pegasus. They were the only ones that could make it to get here before the Germans came through that. They're very thin. Um, they don't have any anti-tank guns. There's just none in that group. You'd have to merge some in. They don't have Piats, the anti-tank infantry gun. They don't have any Piats. They don't have any Vickers. They don't have any 3-inch mortars. All they have are commandos and tanks. And I'm running pretty low on all of those things. I think when we went to this battle here against the Panthers, we had 2 Wolverines, a Firefly, and a Centaur. Centaur is one of my favorite tanks in Gold Juno Sword. It is an assault gun that one of the few that the Allies get, but it carries special. I think it carries heat rounds, and they will kill just about anything. So it's a pretty deadly little tank, and I think it's the last one I had here. Um, but we had to put our we had a pretty important fight to fight. We couldn't let the Panthers get across here, so I think I ended up putting them here and used him to blast any Germans that came through here, and we sacrificed one of our precious Wolverines to make a roadblock, stop those Panthers from coming across, and we were able to keep the Panthers from getting in here. Because the Panthers got in here, not only are we cut off and never getting back up to this, um, well, you're never getting over there anyways. If there's Panthers here, I don't care what battle group you have here, you're not getting across this bridge. But had the Panthers come down here and got access to Maryville Battery right there, or Ranville, oh, that would be scary. But the Commandos saved the day, took some lumps. They lost everybody except the Firefly. I'm pretty sure the Centaur immobilized itself by shooting so close. I don't think I've seen that before. I'll have to watch the stream, but I'm pretty sure he was immobilized from his own blast. And we lost him to failure to repair, which I despise. I really feel that should have been something that was worked into the game, repair points, and you assign them, because if you're in charge, you're probably going to pick what you decide to put the work into repair, but I don't know. Maybe that's not what they were thinking. We didn't have the parts to fix him, so he's gone. But anyways, we held the Panthers, and then luckily we were able to capture the road behind them. We had a big old clash here, and we came out on top, and we just barely recaptured this, which is huge. Had we not recaptured this, another group would have surely gone down into Pegasus, and then they could just recycle all day, and I probably would have a hard time catching either side of that, and even if I did, there's still that chance of getting blocked. But we stopped the Panthers, we captured this, and because we captured this last battle, we forced the Panthers to evacuate Pegasus. You'll see it's nice, clean and clear Pegasus. We forced them to evacuate and recycle this bubble, and also stop from getting trapped, because if he didn't go and I owned that victory location and I attacked him into Pegasus right here, we would our attack would kick him out of his little deal here. He might not even have this. And if you're on a map and the enemy moves in and kicks you out of your only victory locations, you get stuck in a little tiny square in the center of the map. Um, the square of death, I like to call it. I've never seen anyone survive it. So it would pretty much be the end of his Panthers, and he couldn't risk it. So he moved back up to Benville, and we had another crazy fight. And luckily, as you can see, managed to capture it once more, and that might have been the whole game right there. I mean, we might have just saved ourselves, because if we didn't do that and he captured this again, he just don't know if we could have beat him. Our only hope would be to rest the commandos and maybe beat the Speed 3 Panthers, but the cohesion is going to play a big role. They're already up. Okay, that's good. But the problem is, if we're both full and we're both Speed 3, the Germans win. Germans win tiebreakers in LSA and Arnhem. So thank heavens we captured that victory location, and now we're resting our commandos. We're probably going to leave them here to hopefully block if the Germans ever capture that again. And we're sending the airborne up here to recycle this, so we'll kick the Germans out of here, and then hopefully, maybe, we can kind of keep that secured and slowly kick these jerks back out of here. We're probably going to have to come in from behind the Levacy to force them out, because I don't see us moving on this very well. So that's what's happening there. I still have to pick the group to vacate this space to allow the airborne to come in, and we're going to send the Wolverines out. We'll let the 8-3 Canadian fight his primary. They got an AVRE assault gun ready. They got some Fireflies. They got some power. Definitely don't want the airborne fighting his primary against Panthers there. This airborne's gonna rest here because he's not doing anything. And now the rest of the southern sector, we finally kicked them out of Maryville batteries last turn. They surrendered because we captured enough of the battery that they didn't have a chance. So they're gone now. We have them pinned in Bois Bavant. This is the infamous bunker corner in Bavant. You can see all these hardened bunkers here. This is, I mean, I've watched 15 battles in a row in some campaigns of allies trying to kick the Germans out of here. As long as they hold that thing, and I've seen it down to, they just have this one square here. As long as they hold that, they can just keep sending in guys and recycling this. And every time they get this bubble back, it's another fight to try. I mean, I threw everything I had at this the past 2 battles, and we got all the way to here, but you just it's so hard to get. I've seen it happen a few times, but I might never get it against Gallows. And even if I do get it, look what he has here waiting for us. The German Recon, Speed 4, full cohesion. There's nothing you can do to beat that. He's just gonna pop in and clear that out, and I can't stop him. I think it might help us if that has to be the guy that's primary. And they're not the strongest, so maybe I could lump them up. But anyways, that's where Bavant's at. And then we have Columbell's, the star of the show this campaign. I think 16, 17 battles. I think it's the 17th battle. We finally disbanded the Germans. We own this map. I'm going to make a series on that, how we got this. It takes 2 really solid battles by the Allies to pierce their way into Colombelles on D-Day. But if you can do it fast enough, you get here before the Germans can physically make it here, and you own the whole map. But a lot of good it does you because they just pour in from Caen and from Cagney and from Trorn and from Bavent, and that's what Gallows did. He just recycled, 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 and just, I mean, he had us kicked all the way back to, I think, Ranville Corner right here. I mean, we haven't lost this. I told myself I've never owned this before ever in any campaign I've ever played in Gold Juno Sword, and I told myself I'm not going to lose it, and we have defended this viciously for 18 battles now, and I'm not going to give it up because once it's gone, it's gone. You're never getting back up there. This is deep water and a mine-laden bridge. There's just no going up here, so we're never losing this little deal right here. He's trying a few times, and I felt pretty comfortable most of the times that we were able to keep it. Um, so we held that, and he kicked us back, but battle after battle, we finally worked him back, had some things go our way, and we cleared the Germans from Colombelles, but they came right back. Now they got Panthers, and I think they've recycled Cagney, and we finally kicked them back out of that. So, but he's got two routes he can come in. I have owned this before, and we have gone to Caen from here, but it's a pretty vulnerable entry in Caen. I'll show you that real quick. Um, this is where you enter from Colombelles. I think, I don't know, 3, 4 battles maybe we fought here. But it's just very dangerous. There's really no safety here, and you're on an island that is just surrounded by high buildings with line of sight. And we had some good fights. We almost cleared this entire island. We might have even gotten this entire island, which I thought meant we were safe, but I'm pretty sure Panthers came and disbanded us, and we just decided it wasn't quite worth it yet to keep fighting for that. Maybe we'll try again sometime, but so I had some decisions to make here. Um, Typically, I would never ever give this up. This was a really hard fought map, and we have him pinned to this corner, but I'm tired of just giving him these exits in Colombelles. I've owned these several times. This is Cagney and this is Trorn, and I haven't been able to go through, or he's blocked us. Most of the time, I just don't have the guys because he's always had us tied up here in Mirville. And it takes a little while to get these guys down here, and a lot of them are airborne. I think, yeah, 2 of these are still the airborne that are down here, and they're just not the strongest. I mean, they put up a really big fight with their light tanks. One of these groups gets the Tetrarch light tanks with a 2-pound cannon. So they put in some tough fights against the mechanized groups down here. But anyways, I just have not been able to push through, and I'm getting a little raw about it. So I'm gonna get a little rowdy here. I try to keep my opponents guessing sometimes, because especially when I kind of put all my tactics on display here. Um, you can pick me apart pretty easily if you watch a lot of this stuff. I have a few opponents who are actively doing that, but it's just too much fun, so doing it anyways. But needless to say, the safe route here would be to get these guys into Bavent, so that next time I could move them up here and get them towards the front. Because if I move these guys out of here, then I give all this up. This all turns to no man's land, and I just get my little Maryville entry bubble, and the Germans who are going to re-enter, they'll get the entry bubble. So it's essentially going to be a meeting engagement. And I would have to scramble and fight for all that map back. But that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm doing that because this doesn't have this group is still pretty full. Um, he doesn't have any veterans like that I would hate to lose or special units. Like I'm weird about that in close combat. It's what got me into the game to begin with, was trying to preserve veterans. Um, been seeing how far I can get them, so I definitely make some decisions sometimes out of pure, what's the word? You know, uh, I don't know, attachment. Storybook quality. It's not the tactically the best move, but I will keep a veteran instead of putting him back, or I'll not risk him to try to keep him alive. You can see this is a D-Day, day one, uh, D.D. Sherman with the one that goes in the water, and he's got 8 battles already and some pretty good kills and some really strong soldiers. Um, so don't know if I want to keep using this group to fall on these spears trying to get that corner. So I'm gonna let these guys do it. And since I don't see us getting through here anytime soon, I'm just gonna let the battle keep fighting here, and we'll have a meeting engagement. And did I give these guys? I'm gonna give these guys a mortar because when we get in, the Germans are gonna want to sprawl. So I might just guess where they're headed, which my guess would be they head up here. So I'm probably gonna drop that mortar right on their heads, right at the beginning to smother them. Um, And if you're ever in a meeting engagement, I recommend that I usually bring extra mortars to just lob onto his running troops, because that's what we do on a meeting engagement. Everybody sprints to grab the ground. It's about as fun as close combat gets. A meeting engagement. They're always exciting. Everybody's moving. You're not trying to advance into hardened, planned out defensive positions. It's just like a free for they're fun. So it's another reason I'm not too bummed about giving that map up, because I don't think I want to mind fighting it again. This gets old really quick. Trying to pop this corner here, yeah, that'll get frustrating. But a meeting engagement, that sounds fun. But what that lets us do, um, since these guys are up in Pegasus and can't even get to the fight, and I need them both to stay here because of this debacle. But by moving these guys in here, it allows me to use my armor column here and move forward. I could just leave the airborne here for a turn, but I'd be leaving them here by themselves. I don't even think I want to fight this map, which I fought so hard for. I don't even know if I want to fight that with the airborne as primary and a tank group as secondary, because then they could loan a tank or two to the airborne. I don't even know if I'd want to do that on a map like this. It's an unpredictable map. It's the most, technically, by VL points, I believe it is the most critical map in the entire campaign. I believe it is worth more than any other map. Somebody had to fact check me on that, but it's got a lot of points, a lot of exit VLs. So I don't think I can leave this tankless airborne group to fight it, especially with Panthers there. So we're gonna attack in this Sherman group. Pretty tired, but they're gonna come in and help the airborne. Airborne will loan them some troops, and then that lets this recon group move into Cagme. Do I have all his? I don't have all his recons. There's the other one. There's one, two. So the 130 recon is somewhere. I think he's who I disbanded here. Might have been 130 layer recon. So they might be nowhere in sight. If that's the case, we stand a decent chance here of blocking whoever might be here, because I'm a speed 3 down to speed 2 now. So there's a chance we might get blocked. But if that happens, then these guys stay here. I don't give up the map. I'm fine with that. We're going to want to give these guys some help. So we're going to give them air support and mortar support. for that. These guys up here absolutely need the only artillery we have, because this is probably the most important fight in the game right now against these beep, 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 Panthers. Um, so, full support for that. And then we got one airstrike left, which I like to give to Legacy because it is just notorious for going wrong and everyone's running and scrambling. So it's nice to have an airstrike to zap somebody who's sprinting around that map. So I think that's it. We gave full support to the guys who are trying to go to Abbey. Did I finish talking about that? I don't know if I did. But yes, this is I'm just trying to gamble this. He can totally beat me and block me if he moves in. He, I mean, that would be the obvious move, but he's kind of separated and he didn't really try to stop me. So I don't know. I don't know what he'll do there, but I don't mind. If I get through, then I'm finally fighting an Abbey with a pretty strong group in full support. And if they block me, then these guys are going to be here and they'll fight again with full support, and this infantry group will get blocked and have to stay in Theon. I just saw a problem though. Let's see. He's moving out and he's moving out. One moving in. Okay, no, we're good. I must have covered that. If I had another group coming in here, eyelids are getting heavy. Make sure, because if somebody gets blocked here and I stop this circle, that's gonna hurt. I won't get to recycle or stop his recycle, but I think we're good. If the 56 gets blocked because this is occupied, because 131 got blocked, he stays here, but these guys are gone, which means there'll be room for them. So, all right, I think we're good, and I think that's it. Sorry if I didn't finish talking about something that I started or missed something entirely. Feel free to blow up the comments if you do have specific questions about anything. I love talking about close combat. But I think that's everything, and I should be doing these tomorrow. I'll probably fight a few battles against Gallows, so tune in to see the results. You won't be able to watch this video, of course, till afterwards, so actually that's going to be reversed. But anyways, let me know if you like the video. It's my first one. Okay, I'm going to save this and sign off. And hopefully it goes well.